One. All right, hello. Get settled in. There. Just gonna give like 2 minutes. Usually I go over my analysis at the beginning and then somebody joins and asks what my analysis is. So I'm gonna wait like 2 minutes. This is ugly. Okay. All right, so there's a couple things that I want to go through because right now I am not fully 100% certain. Mm, Where's my notion? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm just gonna stick with the initial bias. It's okay. Just gonna trust that. So, this is my initial analysis. So that I'm preferring continuation lower in price. As you see, we had a huge, large range here. We're a Friday, so immediately I think, all right, maybe we're gonna have a move back into previous week range. So let me. That's better. But also, I don't know. It's just if I move away the time aspect, um, and I see this, I'd like for a fair value gap to form, because this is a very bearish day. And then there's a small trend here, also new day opening gap, which we could lay a body over. So maybe we can, since we're in a premium when I started the day, obviously price is in a premium, I can look to deliver to a discount. So that's sort of what I'm playing with right now. 830 sort of made like a Judas swing, a move lower to discount into the new day opening gap. And then price bounced off of that 930 and went higher. So that's like normal. But now we're obviously back into a premium. So I'm going to wait to see if there's some shorts available. All right. And Just I guess a waiting game now. No, well, shook a little bit. It's a little cold. I don't know my sweater is. Yeah, it's better. Mm. Okay, so the S&P and the Dow seem to kind of be moving together. Well, obviously, though, the Nasdaq is more bearish, which is good. So if there are lower prices that come into play, it would be on the Nasdaq that we would probably find the best price action for lower prices, which is good. This is a balanced price range. Basically, it's an overlap. It's completely balanced. So I don't really think we need to go up here into this gap. I think this is enough. Price is held at around this area. It's just an area where price went back and forth and probably left some fair value gaps. Oh, yeah, moved something. Take a look at it closer. Yeah, see how like the fair value gaps are overlapping? It's just completely, it has a lot of balanced out gaps. But what I need to see is a 5-minute short-term high being taken out, and like an initial fake move lower that entices shorts. Um, so we would have a Judah swing too. 9:30 Judah swing. So let's see if this inverse doesn't work. And price comes back one more time. Then I'd be willing to look for short. Oh, I should probably move the ticker. Sorry about that. I forgot to log my analysis in my journal. Only thing I don't really like is this large 15-minute candle. I want to have it in mind that we're going to create an order block. So if we do come back up, probably close this candle maybe lower, and then we come back up, and then I want a little bit of consolidation on like the 1 minute or 15-second with the AMD model, and then deliver it lower. But so far, I like what price is showing. It seems to be wanting to create well, not really on the 5 minute, but on the 1 minute at least. On the 5 minute though, I want to see a clear down close candle, like obvious displacement. This isn't really obvious displacement. I mean, there's no fair value gap. When I say obvious displacement, I mean like something like up here, right? Or something like this, where it's like clear up close price action that gets stopped out, like over here, right? With that inverse fair value gap there, new high, comes back one more time, takes out liquidity, sweeps it, and then it delivers. So like I don't have that yet, and it's probably gonna be another like maybe 10:15, 10:30 before we start to see that. Or before I start to see that. So it's just gonna be a waiting game until then. I, my boss texted me. He wanted me to come in 30 minutes early. I told him, fuck no. Well, I just said no. No, sure. So, yeah, so I don't consider that a nice sweep because obviously, and if I go like here, right, this was a nice sweep. This obvious down close candle and then a sweep. So I want to look for something like that. So it's a waiting game. Also, it's good if we keep going up a little bit more because we just enter more of a premium and also we're further away from this fair value gap. So I have more space to play with before I can expect some support. Okay. Like this candle is a little more like it. It's not super explosive and it can be used to reverse, and then have an order block, which is good. See how that hourly chart is closing? Well, it's a little volatile. Was there news at 10? Oh, PMI. 12K. Wait, what? Whoa, that's a little scary. I actually don't know too much what that means, but uh, I'll look into it later. Let me say we had PCE, which fell. Okay. It's surprising that it fell, actually. That PCE fell. Bro, I lost my ball that I won third. There you go. So now we're getting a little bit of a move down. If it can like close something like this, we're showing displacement on the lower time frame, then I'd want to manipulate that and run over it. this week, but it's not really. I would have wanted it to be a short-term high. Maybe 1 minute will look good. Okay, so it's okay, sweet. We were probably creating an inverse fair value gap, and I want to inverse it. But we're gonna create the fair value gap, and I want to inverse it. I'm not gonna turtle soup. No. I want to wait to see if we inverse the gap instead of turtle souping. Alright, translating all the PD arrays to top step so that everything is there. We probably entered an hourly gap. Yeah, good. All right, so or finish the other one. That's fine. We're in a very big premium, but shorts are starting to look less and less desirable. But I'm gonna wait a little bit more just in case. Then look at how longs are on the Dow, because the Dow is more bullish, but the S&P, about the same really. This is not a bad price action, but they want to trade it. It's been USD JPY has been consolidation, so I'm not really, especially recently this week. Then it's the only other time I'd look to do anything is 10:30. Oh, I got a comment. Yes, I guess you could say I'm a nice tea trader. What gave it away? Be careful though when you're saying nice tea trader though, because I'm not. I'm like my own trader. I use ICT's concepts, but I don't know. ICT trader could mean many different things. Yeah. The main concept I use is um, just kind of like a breaker setup where I look for premium and discount environments. So right now we're in a premium environment where I look for initial move lower. So like fake traders into trades, the shorts too early, stop them out, and then you actually start the real delivery lower. So it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, and within a daily bias framework. Like right now, I'm interested in shorts, but because I'm not gonna long because the day has been higher, right? So if we start to see manipulation, then I would look to short. So what I'm waiting to see if it occurs. If it doesn't occur, then it's okay. There's no trade. Like down here would have been good to trade long, but it was 9:30 open, right? And no, I don't trade right at the 9:30 open. But yeah, that would have been not a bad area to long. So if we had an initial attempt higher, Judas swing, delivery higher, something like that. What about you, Teflon? How long you been trading? And what do you trade? That's cool. It's nice to have you around. Bigger box my favorite setup, but they don't come often enough for my liking. I take them when they form for sure. Each day for value. Like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, recently it's not most of the setups recently that I've seen are just scalp setups or continuation setups. It's not really great for efficient price delivery in terms of breakers and because probably elections. And that's what I've noticed. I've had a lot less trades in the last couple months. Like I mean, this week, what can I do on this day where 9:30 is here and starts to deliver lower? Like I can't short once it already delivers lower. I'm just not comfortable doing that. Over here wasn't bad. I did make money that day. This I missed out. I don't remember why. I think I was just studying it. Wait, no. No. It was just I don't remember if I took this or not. And the same thing over here, Tuesday, 9:30. Didn't really get a chance along because 9:30 did the Judas swing lower. I'm the type of like turtle soup sort of thing. Like I'll justify turtle soups with inverse fair value gaps, or I'll combine turtle soup with an inverse fair value gap or fair value gap or whatever. But if 9:30 does the turtle soup, I usually can't. I'm not confident enough to buy it because it's moving so much. Plus, I'm almost never ready to trade at 9:30. If at like 10:30 it doesn't start to move lower and like show some manipulation or something like that, I'm gonna be getting off because there's just no point in me staying at this point. Like, JPY delivered, just good. If let's just say like I had to do something here, it's just that it's the same scenario where the Judas swing happened at 8:30 and then 9:30 delivers the price action lower. So I can't really. Actually, there's just no 15-minute PD array. But there's like a small sweep. It's just not very evident that we have manipulation inside these wicks. So like I can't really do anything on JPY. And the only other thing I trade is Nasdaq. Yeah, I never trade YM. I don't trade ES, but I use ES to look at um if I'm trying to short, if it's better to do it on the S&P or the Nasdaq. Best conditions usually the Nasdaq will be the leader. So I just refine it to just trading the Nasdaq. And then if ever there's something that I don't like with the Nasdaq, then I go to JPY. And JPY and the Nasdaq are sort of inversely correlated. Not really, but well, they have the very very complex dynamics behind the movement of the JPY and the movement of the stock market. But they're somewhat related. Yeah, that's true. Nasdaq is fast. I don't know. S&P is like just too slow for me. I'd have to trade like because 5 points. Let's just say I go for 10 points. Like let's just say I traded long here on the S&P. Oh, that's actually 25 points. That's a lot. I don't know. I just feel more comfortable with the leverage on the Nasdaq. It also just moves faster, more volatility, and that's what I like. The more volatility, the more money I make. Right, the more money I can make because the more opportunity there is. But um, obviously, the more money you can lose. All right, but I don't know. It is what it is. It's the name of the game. Yes, it doesn't look like it's gonna start to move lower. So I mean, like it's 10:30 now. Like I'm gonna give it another 5 minutes to see the 10:30 macro how it's gonna deliver, and then now I'm actually funded with Top Step and trading combines on the copy trader. So I just I pass a combine, take a payout on the main one, and I add it to the copy trader, and I just keep rolling it over um, like that. 5, that's really good. I I wish you good luck. Do I stream every day? Your live just popped up. My feed some reasonable. I try to stream as much as I can. Um, some days it's just not worth it. Um, Today was almost not worth it, but I just like stream to have a recording. If ever I want to go back through what I did, how it felt, look at my body movements during trades, and what I was and what my analysis was. It also kind of helps me stay accountable in a way, because I might have somebody watching me, and as long as it's not distracting, like the chat isn't distracting me and stuff, I might turn it off time to time if there's too many people. But I don't know. There's just a sense of accountability. Like, oh, I'm gonna need to stick to my analysis, show my analysis, and again, the main reason though is just so that I have a recording. And if I were to record it myself, then my storage gets taken up. So to avoid having to upload it to a cloud like YouTube, I just stream it and it's already there. I don't have to do anything, and at the same time, I can have a sense of accountability, um, more than if I just was on my own. But yeah, like it's very random. I may stream every day of the week, one week, and then I may not stream the next week at all. Like this week I streamed twice, I think. Maybe just once actually. So, well, I don't use the streams for journaling. Um, tape tape reading, I suppose. Not reading the live tape, but like tape reading my performance. Kind of like teams, they sit down and watch their games. Like there's a tape reader and an analysis guy who reads the tape and gives the coach suggestions. It's kind of like that. Like I just I just have the streams as a record for myself to study and in the future. And also the accountability. My journal is different, and it's oftentimes more personal. It gets personal sometimes, so I don't always share that. But yeah, thank you for the respect. Because I mean, it is. I guess it is tough sometimes to when I'm streaming, and then if I lose, you know, obviously I have people watching me, and it doesn't bother me much. But you know, it is. I know it's something that told I've been told that obviously people are scared of doing. Like the NFL after games, they go back and watch film to get better next week. Yeah, like this is why I have my camera, my voice, because I want to see how I'm reacting to certain trades. And sometimes I'll just make edit the stream and post a separate video where it's just me talking over the trade, so I can refer back to it. Hello, Neko. How you doing today? Price is obviously not the best. I'm probably about to get off Neko because price isn't really doing anything. Well, anything that I would like. No. So I don't know. It might be different for someone else, but yeah, that's smart. I was excited to trade today because I only took one trade, and I'm like, well, there's lots of news. It's possible we have a good price action. All right, I'll see you at Teflon. Good luck with your shorts and PM session if it's appropriate. Oh, nice. Yeah, traded Monday and then Wednesday. And that's it. Forgot I traded Monday, but I didn't do it on the live. Okay, well, hold on. There might be something if it shows more displacement. It needs to be aggressive displacement, though. I honestly don't care about the elections. Like, there's just so much drama. Like, I don't like any of the candidates. There's people, some of my friends are telling me that, like, Trump is such a big patriot. He's gonna save the world. If anyone can stop the war in Israel, it's him. And then, he says he doesn't want to stop it. So I don't know why people, I don't know why people say that, but and Kamala, when she speaks, my blood just boils. Like I don't. She's just so annoying. Like I don't know. It's not anything about her policies. It's just the way she speaks. Like it's just I don't like her policies, but like most of them. But you know, it's like when you ask her a question, she doesn't answer it. She goes on to completely redirect everything to Trump for somehow. So like they ask, "What do you think about this policy? How are you gonna put that into action?" And it's just talking about Trump, and it's like, what? Why are you talking about Trump? Like, I want to know what you feel about your policy, not what you feel about Trump's policy. It's just a lot is gonna change. I have a friend in the war in the east with Trump. It's a step closer to stop. Well, I don't know. This is not what he said. I don't know. Well, let me know why you think that, because I saw Trump say that We should just finish them, basically. I don't think anyone is gonna want to stop the war. Um, anyone that does is probably not going to be led into office or well led into the party. Like, for example, RFK, he wanted to demilitarize the military and stop expanding NATO. You know, he obviously didn't. He got banned from the Democratic Party. If I had to vote for somebody, it would have been him. But he got banned from the Democratic Party, so he wasn't. And he had to run privately, and he didn't get enough support running privately because it's not really democracy. It's a well, yeah, mathematically, a democracy is impossible. You have to either be a Republican or Democrat in order to win the election. You will never win if you're private or somebody else, another party that's smaller. So therefore, it's not really a democracy, you know, because the parties are bought and sold by corporations that have vested interests. Because Russia has decent diplomacy during Trump's time. Russia didn't invade anything during his presidency, but it's sure as shit better than if Kamala was in office. Okay, no, okay, yeah, maybe Trump. Maybe you could say that Russia is going to have more diplomacy with Trump, and Russia's not going to get involved. Right? That's a completely different thing. I'm talking about the war in the Middle East. I'm talking about Israel destroying Iran, Israel and Iran. Right? Russia may choose not to get involved, but I'm talking about Israel and Iran. Like nothing is going to stop Israel from destroying Iran. They're gonna do it. Like it's about the oil really that they're doing it. And I don't think Iran's going to stop anyway. Um, and Trump isn't saying he wants to stop it. Like, for example, he told Israel that if they were going to strike Iran just a couple months ago, that they should go for their nuclear power plants first. And then a couple weeks ago, when Iran struck the capital in Israel, the big city, I forgot what it's called, um, Trump called Netanyahu and he said, "Do what you have to do." You know, like there's nothing Trump is going to do to stop it, unfortunately, because there's nothing he wants to do. The war in Europe is close to home. Yeah. Well, I think eventually there's nothing we'll be able to do to stop countries from warring with the United States. I mean, if the see like the spending that for example, tariffs. Right? Trump is putting tariffs to make products more expensive to import from other countries, right? For countries export it to consumers or to producers or manufacturers in the United States. So now manufacturers in the United States have to pay more for these products, and countries that export it will have to pay more too, because that's how it's going to work. The manufacturers are gonna have to pay a higher price, so they're going to buy less, which means that other countries lose money. So what happens is a lot of production will shift from other countries to the United States, raising the prices for consumers in the United States, hurting the consumer, but protecting the industry, creating more jobs with higher pay. Basically, you have more inflation with more jobs. So it's not a really better economy; it's a more fucked up economy. But it is what it is. It will create more jobs, and long term might be good, especially if the United States remains in power. The problem they have to do this though because they have unlimited debt. So I mean, if the debt needs to be serviced, it needs to keep printing money. If they keep printing money, inflation will go up so much that it will basically be there will be civil war or something. So you can either service the debt by raising taxes, selling more bonds, or basically printing money and selling bonds, um, or you can produce more. And this is, I think, what the move is. They're trying to produce more, but that also hurts other countries. So countries will suffer because of the accumulating debt. United States, if debt keeps accumulating, they keep spending money. Just need to be more and more tariffs, more and more taxes. So you can't really do anything to stop other countries from eventually turning against the United States, because that's what's been happening over and over and over again in history with wars. People fight over poverty, the standard of living. If you have land, you don't have a good land. You have a neighbor that has better land. You want part of that land, you're gonna go and invade. So I mean, that's just humans. That's how it is. It's a very pessimistic view, but you know, that's how Japan got their economy so strong. Yeah. Well, now it's not very strong, but you know, that's the risk. The risk is the United States is suffering deflation, and we have to have negative interest rates. That's a very bad thing, because deflation, like, think the stock market is going to consistently go down in deflation. Basically, prices are going to come down, which is good for poor people that have savings or no money, but very bad for the rich. And then, obviously, the rich are in control of things. So, I mean, it's just it sucks. Unfortunate. But hold on, there's a little something going on, a little price action I like. But the problem is there's no, 5-minute breaker. So I don't know how I feel about this. Yeah, I think the what I see said about power is basically economic war. I think there's many different things, but if you look at economic collapse in other countries like Venezuela or Argentina, essentially it's just like they just stop servicing the debt, right? Like they can't service the debt anymore, and whatever happens, economic activity is completely shuts down. And then there's severe inflation on the street because everyone's trying to get the money to buy things, and the money's scarce because there's no new money coming into the system, um, because economic activity stops. And the creation of money in the United States is primarily through selling bonds, or in other words, printing money. And if that stops, if people stop buying bonds in the United States and the government doesn't buy its own bonds, well, politically they can't really buy as many bonds as they want. Well, then obviously there's a lot of trouble, and then people might get mad, and if it goes mad and there's like civil war, then yeah, like economic activity stops, and yeah, like there could be a scenario where there's just shortages on food and no power. But that's way too early to tell if that's gonna happen. It's a possibility, but you can't. I don't think you can. I don't know if I can be comfortable and certain to say that will happen. You know, ICT was saying it like if it's gonna happen. Like it's just maybe, but maybe not. The U.S. is just too polarized, divided, unstable for the middle class. I think it will. But what if it never happens? And the United States, instead of happening in the United States, it happens to all the other countries. Where like the United States just start basically they start supplying the world, and everyone just follows the United States into this world order. Because the thing is, before what happens is, um, the creation of money comes from actual products, like real things, not debt and bonds. And so countries will be able to have, I guess, more of a say in when it comes to tariffs or whatever, because they depend on trade in order to continue, um, the way the country is run. But I think what's different about the United States now is that their creation of money comes from debt, right? From buying or selling bonds. And so uh, if that just keeps up, and the reason why they can do that is because Europe is dependent on United States dollars, and they need to buy bonds to get print their own money to buy the bonds in order to service their debt to other countries that aren't the United States. Like they're $50 trillion in debt, or something, probably more now, to other countries, not the United States. So because of that, it's very very hard for Europe to get away from the United States dollar and to stop using United States dollars. And as long as other countries uh, are going to prioritize a widening difference between rich and poor over completely just shit like, oh, power's out, economic activity stops. As long as they prioritize just a bigger gap between rich and poor, then nothing is going to change. I mean, we're probably never going to get this no power outage thing because things are just going to get worse and worse, and we're just probably going to have more and more poor people and more rich people, until someone snaps and there's a civil war. But then the other thing is, I really don't see the generation nowadays starting a civil war. Like there are some people that are leaders for young people, but I look around like the people I know in my life, uh, like everyone that I know is around my age, like no one knows a single thing about this stuff. And by the time you know we're 30 and the next generation is my age, I'm scared. Like they're gonna be on their phones and TikTok all the time. They're not gonna know anything. Like they're okay with what's happening. They take everything for granted and everyone's distracted. And that's a problem to me because I don't know if it's possible for a civil war or for people to retaliate against central banks and debt if they don't even know what it is in the first place, and they might never know because they're too distracted to understand. Yes, but do you know the expression weak men create hard times? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I believe that. However, we have weak men, like addiction, for example, okay? Sometimes addiction, you just can't get out of it until you've hit rock bottom, right? But I think the problem is that, like, how are you going to get rid of addiction if you're constantly, being fed drugs? If I had Percocets and cocaine on my desk every morning and I tried not to do drugs, I mean, what am I doing, right? Like we live in a society where just constantly being fed bullshit, um, drugs, phones. Your phone is a drug. In fact, I mean I don't have my phone when I'm trading because I don't want to go on it, and I oftentimes just open my phone just to look to see if I have a message or or what's new on Instagram, and I have to delete Instagram because of that, right? So I mean, but people don't see it that way. People go on TikTok all the time and spend hours on it, and that's not like it's not like if like they're okay with that is what I'm saying. Like people have understood this and they're saying we're okay with this. We're okay with spending our life on TikTok. The world may be terrible, but we're not going to change because we have these drugs that are accessible to us, like our phones. Yeah, like addiction is so readily available, but what I'm also saying is that people are okay with being weak. That that I guess it's a good. They'd rather be addicted and weak than actually retaliate against higher forces. And then I come on here and I try and say these things, and I either make myself sound crazy to those around me, or um, well, yeah, basically crazy. Like I sound crazy, but it's if anything, I think it's gonna get worse because you already have like AI that can replicate women, like real in China and Japan, like they have like real women that look like AI. You've got someone killed himself recently because he thought he was talking to a human, but it was actually an AI online and he was getting intimate with it. Like this is crazy. These types of things are crazy. Pornography is so readily available. Like there's so many ways to cope with the problems in the world that like I don't think the weak men this time can create strong men because we're constantly being fed just dopamine, and cope. I was addicted badly as well, but if the will is strong, you will survive. I think the problem is the lack of will, and that is very scary. Yeah, but again, like I don't think the will is there. Like that's what I'm saying is I don't think it will ever be until we almost destroy ourselves. I mean, it's gonna take the point where I guess as you're saying, like the power goes out and people realize that hey, like we need to eat, like we're gonna starve, and then lots of people might die, and those that survive are gonna be the ones that had the will to actually try and do something to save themselves. But if we don't have that, and maybe we never get that, right? Because the system is, however, still run by the financial system. It doesn't take the people to run the system, right? Before, you needed to produce things, you needed to actually have people working in order to have a good system. But now you just need to print money. Because the United States can do this, they don't need people to actually be producing anything. They can be in a negative trade deficit for generations, and then they're going to be okay. Since there's so much debt in the United States dollars, the United States has basically become gold. The United States can sit on its ass and just print gold. Like, it doesn't matter. And they have so much military power that no one can do anything about it. So, like, this is what I'm saying, that there may never be a reason for people to have the will to change. They may just be okay with being complacent and addicted and fed whatever they want to hear, which is scary. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like price right now. Like, there's a movement lower I was looking for, but there's no breaker. So there's nothing I want to do. But yeah, if anyone has anything else to say, I'll read it. But I'll probably be ending the stream next 5 minutes. Can you explain the debt in the USA? Who do they owe it to? Heard some patriots die on the hill saying can't make them pay anyway, so it doesn't matter. Well, the debt is so when the United States has debt, let's actually just pull up the debt clock. I will show you. Oh my god. Okay, so by the way, this number, it just consistently goes up. Like the US national debt, you could look, it's going up 100,000 every second. You could just sit down and look at it all day, and you're just gonna see it go up and up and up and up and up. 150 million in 24 hours. But anyways, there's Medicare, Social Security, defensive spending, which make a small portion of the debt. Most of the debt is with bonds and U.S. debt held by foreign countries. That's 9 trillion there, so almost 9 trillion. So this is obviously, and then the U.S. money supply too, which is part of it too, which is basically the amount of money that's in the economy. Not just, I think U.S. M2 money supply is also bonds, not just cash. So whenever the United States buys bonds, the Federal Reserve, they buy their own bonds and they hold it on their balance sheet, or bank or whatever does it. I think, pretty sure that's included M2. But anyways, what happens is these other countries, this is what US owes to other countries. This isn't the problem though. It is a problem, but the bigger problem is the what Europe, for example, owes to other countries in US dollar that aren't the United States. So Europe needs to print money in order to keep their economy, whatever, up and things running, business going, economic activity continues. So they print money, and what they do with the money is they buy US dollar bonds, and then they do that because they owe US dollars to other countries. So they trade their currency for US dollar bonds. So the United States receive euros, and then they use the euros to buy stuff and import them. But they don't have to export anything. They just need to give their bond. And that creates inflation in the United States. But then they also have a negative trade deficit for free because they just needed to give Europe the ability to buy the bond. And then Europe will go ahead and do the same thing with other countries, and this is why Europe has $50 trillion, in debt of United States dollars to other countries. But that's what the biggest problem is the bonds that the United States has. Like, I think Japan has 13 trillion in bonds, but this is all government debt. If you have a bond, that means the government owes you money. So if, like, Japan has $13 trillion in bond and they want to sell those bonds, they need to find someone willing to buy them at $13 trillion worth of all those bonds. And now the problem is the United States isn't doing that right now, right? Like the Federal Reserve isn't buying back its bonds; it's actually decreasing its balance sheet. It's also called quantitative tightening. So they're tightening the balance sheet by decreasing the bonds that they own. So they're not buying any more bonds. Now, obviously, Japan can't do that. I'm not saying they want to do that, but you see why this is causing a lot of trouble in the world where they're fighting deflation because they can't just sell their bonds. They have to just consistently keep buying the bonds, and then printing money to do that. So the whole world is fighting um, the problem of deflation and inflation, while the United States is enriching themselves, and the whole world is getting more poor. Basically. So this is why when he said that we can't make him pay anyway, it doesn't matter. Like there's not enough money to pay. Like there's just not because we've created money out of thin air, and other countries need to basically have hyperinflation and no economic activity in order to pay back, what they owe in the United States. Same thing for the United States. I think I read once that it would take like over a dozen generations of stagflation in order to pay off the debt, right? Uh, if we, unless we find, I don't know, money that, or not money, but gold that falls, rains from the sky or something, um, then it's not going to happen. Like, the debt's not going to get paid. Well, it's not that USA. Well, USA is basically kind of evil. Like it's not. They're obviously bullying the rest of the world. Like it. Think of this as USA being Sauron in Lord of the Rings, and they have like the Ring of Power. And this is Brent Johnson's analogy in his milkshake theory. But all the other foreign currencies are like the other rings that were given to the races in Lord of the Rings that are controlled by the One Ring. That's the evil Sauron has, and then the United States essentially controls the whole world because everyone that's gotten in debt in the United States. So it's not. It's like this is why China has made loans in U.S. dollars because they want to raise the U.S. dollar assets in order to have, I guess, more competition in the United States. But even then, that's not enough. Like they're fighting deflation right now, and if they face tariffs, I mean, it's going to be worse for them. They're they're going to be producing. Basically, the United States will be buying less of their products. The United States will be producing more of their own products, and China is going to be worse off, as well as every other country in the world. While the United States strengthens themselves, which is why war is inevitable. Whether it's Trump or Kamala, it's completely inevitable. The only person that could have probably prevented war, that I've heard at least, is RFK, because RFK wanted to completely destroy the defense and war spending, demilitarize the United States. He also wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve. That he called them a criminal agency, and like that's, and I don't remember, there was a couple other things he wanted to do, but he also wanted to go against like corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard, which Vivek wanted to do too. But yeah, like he was banned. He wasn't allowed to. He was banned from the Democratic Party, so he had to run privately, and because of that, he didn't have a chance. He didn't. He wasn't even invited to debate. So he ended up endorsing Trump because if he didn't endorse Trump, he'd be a nothing. And so yeah, there's video I watch. Democracy is impossible, and people like to believe it is, but mathematically impossible. This guy explains why it's impossible, and it basically just comes down to concentration of power, money. Anyways, I'm gonna end the stream because I do have to start getting ready for work soon, and I gotta call somebody. So I will see you guys next week probably, or maybe I'll do a weekly review. But thanks for joining everyone that did, and yeah, have a good day.